Hi, I'm Eric Siegel, and this is a tour of my O-scale layout. This is the main room of the layout. The main table here is 25 by 8. There are two other little sections here. This connecting section is about a 3 by 3 section, which connects the main table to this extension part, which is about 11 by 3. The thing that I really wanted to have in the main room here was a yard area. I wanted to have a classification yard, an engine terminal, and an engine service facility. And I also wanted to have a cat, and that's my cat. She likes to hang out on the way out and get her fur all over the tracks. Around the yard area, there are 3 circles of track. I really didn't want to have circles around so much, but I had to do it because of the space that I have, and in order to get some sort of semi-prototypical action in the yard. These first 2 loops here are the main line, and the third loop here is the yard lead. When a train is ready to come into the yard, it pulls off the main into the yard lead. The yard lead is this third track here that comes all the way around, and when it gets back here, it splits off into the 2 yard areas. The yard lead also continues as that third inner circle, and it comes all the way around back to itself where it started. That allows switchers to run around a train and all sorts of other flexibility that you might need in a yard. Back here where this splits off into the yard areas, the first area is for the engines. This is an Atlas O turntable. It has 14 stalls. They are all powered and they all work. The turntable works. If the engine is not ready to go into the turntable yet, it can come on this track here, and it comes back here to the engine service facility. The first track here where you see these 2 black Weaver engines, that's going to be a fuel area where the engines can gas up. The other back tracks there are going to go into a diesel service facility where they can get some work done if they need. If it's not an engine, then it's a freight car, and it gets pushed into these classification tracks. There are 5 classification tracks here. There is a 6th one on the back side behind those twin stacks. You can't really see it from this angle. That's probably going to be used to store cabooses or maintenance of way equipment or any other random stuff that needs to go there. It's just an auxiliary storage track. But the heart of the classification yard are these 5 tracks here. Outside of the yard area, we've got these 2 main lines that I was telling you about earlier. I put this tunnel portal here to kind of show you that a lot of these main line loops are going to be enclosed in tunnels. I'm doing that for a couple of reasons. The first one is obviously to get more scenery and get an upper level where I can put some additional trains and additional scenery. The other reason is to kind of hide the fact that these are circles. I really didn't want to have these 3 big loops of track, but I had to do it because of the space restraints. So putting them in tunnels in certain portions will kind of take away from that and give the effect of a longer train ride around the layout and give the effect of the train actually going somewhere. Once the main line leaves the yard area, you can see I've got a Y set up here. Most of this Y will be enclosed in tunnels and in mountains, so you probably won't be able to see much of it once the layout is complete, but it will be there for me to turn trains around and so forth. After the Y, the line splits off to the left and right here. The left line goes into the first back room, which we'll get to in a little bit. We're going to follow this line to the right, which comes around here to this 11 by 3 table, and there you can see it goes into the hallway room. Off of this line here, I've got a industrial siding where there'll be some sort of industry at some point. Coming from the main room through this tunnel, we're now in the hallway room, and as you can see, there's not a whole lot of table space in this room. This hallway basically just serves as a junction point to connect the other areas of the layout, but there is a little room for scenery in here. On this table here, I'm going to put an abandoned line and maybe an old abandoned mill or factory of some sort, and some other interesting scenery. We've also got this swing bridge over here, which I will get to in a couple of minutes, and then there's another narrow table over there, which we'll get to in a few minutes. But following the line, when we come through this tunnel, just come through here, and then we're going to go through another tunnel, which goes into the first back room. As we come through that tunnel, we come into the first back room onto this small 5x6 table. The track comes through the tunnel and then basically comes around for a minute and then goes right back into the hallway room. But before it does that, there's a siding that comes off of it where I'm going to put some sort of industry. Over here, there may be some sort of junkyard area. I'm not entirely sure yet, but that's what I'm thinking of right now. And then the areas where you see the tunnel portals that are cut into the walls, those are going to be covered up, of course, by mountainous kind of terrain and a tunnel portal of some sort. And then the area between those tunnel portals will be raised up, and then I'll have some more scenery up on there. And the track comes through here and goes back. Coming through that tunnel, and I've got a little tunnel portal set up here to kind of give you an idea of what it will sort of look like. The train comes through and goes over this swing bridge that I've installed here. And this bridge takes the train into the second back room. Coming through the tunnel from the swing bridge, we come into the second back room. This is going to be a Rocky Mountain themed room with some Rocky Mountain backdrops. On this industrial siding over here, there's going to be a Coors brewery where I'm going to have the Silver Bullet train operating and some of the neat Coors hoppers that MTH has been putting out. After the industrial siding there, we've got the train coming around here until it comes to this spur here. This line is going to become an elevated line that's going to go all the way into that first back room, and when it finally comes out, it'll come out in the main room as an elevated line that will go on top of the current line that's in the main room. After that spur breaks off from this line, we come back here where the tracks come together again, and we come through this hallway room again on this really narrow table. This table is just not much to look at, but it will connect these two back rooms. Like I said, this track here is going to be that elevated line that will eventually go back into the main room. This is the track, that's the main level track that we've been following, and it's going to come through here. We're back into the first back room. Train's coming around this way. We're going to have a ravine or something around here. And then we come this way where we've got another industrial siding. I'm not sure exactly what kind of siding we're going to have here. Might be a mine or something. That station is just there temporarily. It doesn't mean there's going to be a station there. I just put it there. And then the line comes back through onto this narrow table here, and then back into the main room where the yard and everything is at again. We're back in the main room again. This is the area where that elevated line is going to come through just above where the bottom line goes in. The elevated line is going to come out here, and then it's going to ride around at about a foot off the table and do some sort of a dog bone sort of track pattern that'll take it around this main table. You may have noticed this little area here. This is a temporary workshop that I've got set up. It's not going to be here when the layout's done. And I've also got the power and control system for the layout right there. Those will move later. I'll get back to the power systems in a minute. This whole depressed area where I've got the workshop will eventually be incorporated into the layout and will be a low-lying valley sort of area.